All right. First and foremost, I want to thank all the Patreon supporters of this podcast because you guys are the salt of the earth, in my opinion. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate that you willingly donate to the show and to keep this show going and growing. So shout out to all my Patreon subscribers. If you want to get more involved, feel free to go check out patreon.com/bigtruth. And you can see the different subscription levels there. And they all have their own little benefits and privileges and whatnot. But you got some big things planned for this year that are going to be exclusives just for the Patreon subscribers. So get in now. Now, if you need old, well, not even just old, if you just need motorcycle parts or, gear, you need to check out Old Bike Barn over at oldbikebarn.com or on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot at Old Bike Barn. They got whatever you need for your Harley, but more importantly, and I'm not saying more importantly because there's plenty of places where you can find Harley parts, but there's not a lot of places that have like weird old Japanese motorcycle parts. Old Bike Barn is where you want to go. People come in here all the time and be like, hey, do you got this thing from my XS650? And I'll look and I don't have it, but I'm like, I guarantee Old Bike Barn has it, so go check them out. And on top of that, they're salt of the earth motherfuckers. Like Bear and his staff are all solid people. He gives a lot to the industry and really gives a shit. So give back and support oldbikebarn.com. They also have cool knives and leather goods and motorcycle apparel under the White Knuckler brand, and it's all made in the U.S., and it's all made in-house with them guys. So check them out, oldbikebarn.com. If you have any issues like sleeping or with insomnia type stuff, or you got muscle aches and pains or injuries and anxiety, things like that, you've been wanting to check out CBD oil because everyone knows about CBD now. It's pretty out there. I mean, you can go buy some garbage CBD at the local bodega. Don't do that. Go to craterlakeclear.com. All organic materials, all top end. Go to craterlakeclear.com. They check it out. They break down the whole process of how they make their CBD oil. Best CBD in the game. Craterlakeclear.com. Now, if you need some CBD for your pet, you got a little anxious Chihuahua or some shit, or fucking got a horse that needs a CBD oil, with an achy leg or something, or your cat, whatever, you need to check out VetCS over at vetcs.com. It's a CBD oil company, and they specialize in CBD oil for pets, and it was founded by a vet and a vet tech. And again, same thing, all organic, all top-end ingredients, made in the USA, made here. Not some fucking garbage, shipped over, labeled, and fucking got weird chemicals in it. All organic. So check them out, vetcs.com. If you happen to be in the unfortunate situation where you find yourself in a... and so, by the way, if you use the promo code BIGTRUTH at either of those CBD companies, Crater Lake Clear or VetCS, you will receive a discount on your order, like 20%. So it's a substantial discount, so check them out. CraterLakeClear.com, VetCS.com. Use the promo code BIGTRUTH at checkout. Now going back to the motorcycle accident shit. Hopefully you never have to use these guys, but if you do find yourself in the unfortunate situation where you are in a motorcycle accident, you need to check out Law Tigers over at lawtigers.com, or go to Facebook and type in Law Tigers in your state so you can get in touch with your local office. It's a motorcycle law firm specializing in motorcycle accidents and injuries sustained from that. Founded by motorcycle riders for motorcycle riders. Omerta is a clothing company run by my boy and two of my brothers, and a lot of what we're going to talk about in this episode is applicable to this brand because, this whole stop glorifying rats, fucking be a stand-up dude, like old school gentleman shit. That's what Omerta's about. And, check them out, omertamia.com. And they got whatever you need, T-shirts, fucking hoodies. We're going in the summer. You might not need a scarf. Well, maybe you live in Alaska and you need a scarf. I don't know. But they screen everything in-house. They use American-made apparel wherever possible. Top-of-the-line shit. Real deal. Everyone wants to do a lifestyle brand. These dudes lived a lifestyle and then made a brand around it. It wasn't like, they tried to buy into a lifestyle. So real as it gets, omertamia.com. Use the promo code BIGTRUTH at checkout. Get 20% off your order. Now, If you're still looking for more clothes, maybe you're a little more on the dark side of things, like you're into weird shit, like you're a little twisted, you like the occult, or, you like, doom, fucking stoner metal shit, you like drugs, you like psychedelics, you like fucking motorcycle, like choppers, you like serial killer stuff, or just stuff about cults, cult leaders, and everything like that. If you like any of those things, but if you like more than one of those things, then you're gonna definitely like Heavy, and you go check them out. Heavy Clothing, heavy.bigcartel.com is the website, or on Instagram at Heavy Clothing. And Zach is one of the co-hosts of this episode, so you're gonna listen to him in a second, helping me out on the co-hosting. Or hosting this episode. So heavy.bigcartel.com or Heavy Clothing. And now if you use the promo code FTW, which is exclusive to this podcast, at checkout, you get 13% off your order. Now, if you know anything, Heavy doesn't really do a lot of sales and anything like that. So use the promo code FTW. That's a way for telling them that I sent you, and you get 13% off your order there. So be stoked about that, because there's not a lot of deals going on there, like, you know what I mean? So we got the inside scoop. We get you some hookups. If you're into motorcycles, you need to check out Chop Cult. It's the biggest information clearinghouse and message board set up out there for motorcycle riders and chopper builders and custom bikes and everything like that. It's all broken up by topic, easy to navigate, absolutely free to join. They don't ask your credit card or nothing. They also have some of the highlights to me is that they have an events page that you can find out about motorcycle events all around the world, by date, by location, well-structured, well-organized. And they also have an online swap meet where you can buy, sell, and trade parts. They got a mailing list that you set up for, so you can get like a little digest sent to you, and all kinds of cool shit. So check them out on all the social media, simply at Chop Cult, or go to chopcult.com. If you're into punk and metal, then and hardcore, obviously, although the unholy trinity of music's there, you need to check out Pitchfork at pitchforkny.com. This is the clothing company that your favorite bands are wearing. And they also have a record label that they just put out a new New York hardcore compilation 12-inch, and they've been around for like a decade. Like, they got a lot of years into this. So check them out, pitchforkny.com. They know what they're doing. Rad stuff all the way around. If you can also check out my motorcycle shop, which is Chopperhead, if you don't know that already, and if you're not local to New England, you go to chopperhead.com, which is CHOPPAHEAD. But if you are in the New England area, or you just happen to be coming out here, then you need to stop by, because we're a full service brick and mortar. I'm trying not to say it with a Boston accent, but it's hard. Brick and mortar store, which means we're a real shop. We're not like we're not operating out of a storage unit or something, or like a basement. Like, we're a full service brick and mortar motorcycle shop. So what does that mean? It means we have a parts counter, we have a showroom with all the, stocked up. I just got a bunch of helmets in for the springtime, because everyone's starting to ride again. I got to giant order of KDs coming in. So whatever you need, riding apparel and riding gear, we got it. But more importantly, we're a full service shop. So, whether you need an oil change or a full custom chopper built, we got you. So check it out, chophead.com, 13 County Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts, 508-995-6764 is the number. Check us out. And, the thing I'm lacking the most on is updating the website and putting a lot of products on the website. There's just too much, and it's overwhelming, and I probably should just hire a person to do that specifically. But we can get you any part you need. So give us a call if you don't see it on the website. If you want more information on the podcast, check out bigtruthpodcast.com. And that's it for now. Let's just jump right in.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We We have a liftoff.
Yes, once again, we have liftoff. I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Big Truth Podcast. And today I got an old friend on, my homie Grant, who you might know from the Born Free show, or you might just know from his decades in the hot rod and motorcycle industry. So without further ado, I just want to give a warm welcome to my man Grant. What's happening, bro?
Hey, how you doing, Big Truth? It's a pleasure to be on the podcast. You guys are doing the Lord's work out there.
I don't know if everyone would call it the Lord's work, but we're doing some kind of work. I don't know if any entities are involved. Yeah,
that's all right. You're doing it. You're doing it regardless.
Oh, just trying, man, just plugging away, and this was something that started over the pandemic and was just something to help fill some time, and something I'd been thinking about for a while, and a couple of friends kind of pushed me towards, and just started then because it was just something else to do, and just kind of stuck with it because it's been fun. But more than anything, it's fun. Talk to people I know and learn things about people, even old friends that have been on. You uncover shit that you never knew about them, and then also just talk to some new people that I never met, and some interesting perspectives, and especially with the weird shit and stuff. I got to get more of that on.
Oh yeah, no, it's an awesome platform for this kind of stuff. It's one of the best. Well, for you, it's a good benefit that came out of the end of the world is you starting this, and I mean, there's so many interesting stories and so many interesting people out there doing stuff that you just wouldn't normally be aware of. And like you said, even people that there's a lot to unpack. So, little of the people you don't know.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So before we even start today, your Instagram moniker is Large Hands Grant. So we got to get to the bottom of that nickname. Is it literally just because of you have large hands, or is there something to that name?
Yeah. I guess so. The only thing to it is my grandpa, and I don't know. I guess most people in my family are pretty tall, and so it always seemed normal to me. And I mean, my hands have always just been at the end of my wrist, so I never really thought twice about it because I don't know what else. I'm not used to anything else, and everybody's different. And everybody's like, "Oh man, you got big hands. You got big hands." I'm like, I don't know. They're just. I don't know, but apparently they're bigger than most. But the only thing that really gets me is big gloves. So, nothing else, unfortunately.
Yeah. So you a 2X or a 3X in gloves?
It depends on who's making them, but I do have some 3Xs.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I get it.
Yep.
I get it. So that's big.
Yeah.
For people that might be not as familiar with you, I don't think anyone listening to the show isn't familiar with Born Free, but you're one of the co-creators and founders of it. They might not be as familiar with you personally, you know what I mean? Maybe let's talk about the show and all that, but before we even get to that, talk a little bit about your background and, where you're from and how you even got into these worlds and
Sure.
what motivated you to kind of get into all this.
Yeah, I kind of had my dad to blame because at an early age, I think even before I was really cognizant of anything, I have an older brother, and then eventually there's 4 younger sisters. So there's 6 kids in a big old family from Utah. I grew up in a pretty Mormon family, and when my brother and I were little, my parents were still pretty active with some of their friends in a lot of camping and dirt biking and stuff. And there's pictures of me in diapers and stuff in a tent. I don't know, somewhere in northern Utah or Idaho, or they used to do a lot of river rafting and stuff. And my dad taught me and everybody else in the neighborhood basically how to ride a motorcycle. I was 6 or so. And he had a little YZ80. He was the king of finding cheap dirt bikes at yard sales. So it was mostly just 70s dirt bikes. Again, this is in the, mid 80s. I was born in 79. So yeah, probably 85, 86 was when I learned to ride. He put my brother on, me on, all the neighborhood kids, eventually my sisters, anybody who wanted to ride. The dogs would ride on the gas tanks and everything. And, so kind of started out with that stuff pretty early, and I didn't really find out a lot about my grandpa, my great grandpa on my dad's side, riding until later on, except for we all knew that my great grandpa actually got killed, in 54, I think. And funny enough, or not, he was riding a Servicar, Harley Servicar. He was a motorcycle officer in Salt Lake. And I eventually, and a lot of this stuff I didn't see until my grandpa passed away, and we were going through a lot of photos and stuff with my grandma, who's still around. She's 99. And so my great grandpa, there's pictures of him on a VL, real fuzzy, kind of bad picture, but VL police bike, and then later on was on Servicars. And then my grandpa, he was in training for all that, and there's cool pictures of him like standing over a Knucklehead and a couple other guys on Big Twin Flatheads in their training, and then I don't know, the whole police force in 51 got I guess new panheads, and they're all lined up out in front of the station. And then, but after my great grandpa got killed, my grandpa went into a car. But my dad grew up riding dirt bikes, him and his cousins, and there was never really any talks of in my family period about, oh, you can't ride a motorcycle, it's dangerous, yada yada yada. So I guess they looked at it more as, you know, the other person's fault. It wasn't my great grandpa's fault for riding a motorcycle. So
Sure,
plus no helmet and all that shit back then. So who's to say? Yeah, so I've made my dad ride a lot of the stuff that his dad rode, and then you know, I've for whatever fallen in love with Servicars because I've ridden one so much instead of running errands in a car. So it's kind of funny, this whole full circle thing with the family history. But I didn't really get deep into Harleys until later on. For one, money, and we're just a big old poor family making it. But my dad, he was always working on cars, and he graduated in 72, I believe, and was a big like Chevy muscle car guy. Like 69 Z28 was the pinnacle for him, and he had a 69 RS SS in the early 70s. Again, kind of before the family came along, and he always talked about a 56 Chevy truck that he had he put a 396 in, but still had the stock tranny and was always putting trannies in it and whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I got bit by the old car bug, and we all were jonesing to learn how to drive pretty early on. And I don't know, we were probably pretty good at it by the time we were 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
And
so was it,
you know,
were you in like kind of like a little like not remote, but like an area where it wasn't looked down on to see a kid driving around?
No, right in the middle of Salt Lake City.
Oh,
So,
all right.
but, you know, he'd let us drive to and from church, and then we were right by the high school I went to, and they had a big driving range for cars. And so we'd go over there, and then a friend of mine growing up, his family had a bunch of property outside in Zion National Park down in southern Utah. They go down there for a little bit in the summers, and there's a shitty old farm truck with a bad clutch in it. And so we'd all pile in that thing. And we were probably 14 at this point, and they had 1,600 acres or something. So we were really able to stretch our legs there. But somebody's grabbing the gear shift, and the other one's trying to, you know, the clutch was totally jacked in it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And it was
my
probably
brother's
a
friend,
long throw on that clutch, probably, right? Like,
oh yeah, exactly. So it probably would have been hilarious to watch. But my brother's friend had a '69 Nova, which unfortunately they eventually donated because nobody cared about that stuff in the '90s apparently, and it was like a one-owner clean car, but 350 3-speed. And I learned right before my lesson or my driver's license test in that. And I don't know. It just all things kind of old car related is sort of what I got obsessed with in high school. I thought I was going to go into photography heavy, which I did during that time. Used to shoot a lot of hardcore bands and stuff in Salt Lake. I got a couple of binders of old of negatives and stuff from that. Like those probably mid '90s. Early to mid '90s, and then but just went way deeper into cars and set my sights on moving to Southern California. Got really obsessed with pre-war Ford hot rods, maybe in an unhealthy way, but it brought me out here, and I forced myself basically into a lot of jobs that I shouldn't have had, but I was just so stubborn and wasn't going to take no for an answer, and worked at a bunch of different hot rod shops, and eventually it's kind of same thing with, I spent 10 years in the automotive magazine industry too, without really many of the qualifications I should have had. I didn't go to college. I moved out here to do hot rods instead. And it's funny with all this college loan stuff. I knew back then I couldn't afford it. Even taking a loan out was bad, and I wasn't smart enough for college scholarship. So then I had to get another job. But
didn't you work with Boyd Coddington or over at his shop for a while?
Yeah. Yep. I worked at Boyd's. Actually worked there a couple of times. Became pretty good friends with, his family, and especially his younger son, Greg, who I'm still friends with. We played in a band for 5-6 years. And it's funny enough, I met him on a family summer trip out here to California in '96. Still in high school, but had a license at that point. And Greg had a Vespa shop or a scooter shop in Orange County at the time. And I actually met him there, and then unbeknownst to us at the time, would become friends and all that stuff later. And actually, talked to him a few weeks ago. So, Boyd was always really good with me. I never really got screwed by him like he did to so many people for whatever reason. So, I mean, I've been around a lot of that, and I know a lot of the people that he definitely took advantage of. But he's always pretty solid with me, and all that. It was all a great experience. Learned so much and met so many of the talented people in that industry. And I don't know. It was good experience. Hard times, but good experience.
So what was it like being coming out from Salt Lake? And I actually want to talk to you when you mentioned about like shooting old hardcore bands and whatnot. But were you part of that hard line, like straight edge shit that was like the like, what was it, like Monster Crew and all that stuff that was out there?
Yes and no. So I was ultimately, that turned me off from it. And it's funny because I still see a lot of that kind of stuff going on there. And I don't know. I was way more, I guess, kind of like with cars and bikes. I was a bit more traditional when it came to that stuff. But then also, as far as like, again, this is ancient history at this point, but the newer bands at the time that I really liked were like Gorilla Biscuits and, most of the Revelation stuff. And it was kind of when like the militant hardcore ALF stuff, like Earth Crisis coming in and all that stuff, it wasn't really where I wanted to be. And I went to school with kids that eventually served, 20 years in prison for blowing up Tandy Leathers and McDonald's and stuff.
Yeah. What was it?
Like they were...
Vegan Reich was one of the 7-inch. You remember Vegan Reich? That was like a 7-inch.
Oh, yeah.
Out in my head. Yeah, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah. And so I'm going to shows and stuff, and it was... we were lucky because there was a lot of all ages places in Salt Lake. So, plus all just the little ramshackle hardcore shows at like, the Unitarian Church and, the Moroccan and all these other places. But there was places for decent sized shows. But, after a while it became like in Salt Lake, it was East Side kids versus West Side kids, kind of all supposedly there for the same reason. And then they're duking it out and stabbing each other, and it's just like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'd rather just sit home and listen to my Minor Threat records and I don't know, eat a pizza than like, I don't know. It seemed weird to me. I wasn't. I don't know. It seemed more like jock like mentality to me, which they were my mortal enemies. And so I don't know, it pushed me away from it and kind of pushed me into more post-hardcore stuff, which actually I still really like today. I'll listen to some of the hardcore stuff and I think fondly of it, but like Fugazi turned into one of my all-time favorite bands, and there's so many of those like post-hardcore Discord bands. One of my goals in life for a long time was to have every Discord release on vinyl. Never happened. I moved too many times, and I gave away, unfortunately, all that stuff, which even a lot of those like cardboard sleeve Revelation CDs, which apparently are expensive now, but gave it all away during so many moves. And I'm like, okay. So
everything is so much money now. I see records that I had that, whatever, and like records like going for like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 now. I'm like, what?
It's insane. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. I, I had a bunch of the early. I still have a couple of the early Discord original 7 inches. I still
Really?
have like a first press of the Teen Idol 7 inch and stuff like that.
No shit.
But I had traded Minor Threat 7 inches years ago, like an idiot, and things like that. But they just
Who
released.
would have thunk?
Yeah, did you see that they released like last year? I got one. They did a box set of all the early 7 inches.
I'm an idiot, and I'm terrible with like pre-orders.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, and I was like, I kept seeing it, and most of the time I'd see it, I'd be like laying in bed with my phone with the lights off, and I don't want to get up and get my wallet. I think they didn't take PayPal, so I could just click the button, and I was like, I'm not getting up and get my fucking card.
Yeah.
And now it's like, then realizing that they only made them to order and they didn't really do extras. It's like, well, that was really stupid of me.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. But they did a good job with the packaging. Like, pretty much what you'd expect. But so leaving Salt Lake. So you knew what some of them dudes, like, we heard about all that stuff on the East Coast. They're like, what the hell's going on in Salt Lake? These dudes are like, shit up, going to jail for terrorism.
Yeah,
and shit
it was
for
crazy. Yeah, literally. I guess one of the guys, what was his name? Andy Monch. He just got out a few years ago. And yeah, literally he went to same high school, and we were in art class together. And again, it was so small back then, especially there were more kids that were a little bit older than us, who I'm actually still good friends with. Some of them, like Taylor Williams, he was in that band Lifeless, and he's still playing music and stuff. But I don't know, they were 3 or 4 years older. But in high school, that's
big deal, yeah.
an eon. But so there was only like me and my buddy Thane, and then this kid Andy, and then actually that what's his name? Man, when I moved from Salt Lake, I just was like, kiss my grits, I'm out of here. Never thought twice about a lot of this stuff. But the guy Mick, that was in 18 Visions that died. Same thing. He was sitting across from me in our little table in the art class and stuff. I don't know why I can't say Mick Morris. No, that's fucking Motley Crue, Mick Morris. What am I thinking of? Anyways, like that was all happening at that time, and watching all these kids basically ruin their lives. I'm like, I'm fighting hard enough to just get by in life. I don't want to ruin it right away. I got a lot of stuff I want to do.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it was weird because like every area had their own scene and like own kind of like weird shit going on too, but like that stuff was making national news, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and it's funny because anytime I mention that stuff to anybody that knows anything about hardcore, I'm like, yeah, even back then we knew it was gaining like pretty good, I don't know if notoriety is the right word, but they were pretty notorious anyways. The Salt Lake City scene was, and it got way worse after I bailed. I'm like, all right, you guys have fun. I'm going to go work on my car.
Yeah.
But yeah, for better for worse, that's where I went. But it's I don't know. I met a lot of good dudes too through that, and yeah, it's funny because I'm actually looking at moving back to Salt Lake here pretty soon after 22 years, which I never thought would happen, and. So I spent more time up there and kind of bumping into some of these guys. Man, you haven't seen anybody in 25 years or so. It's wild.
Yeah. So,
and I was never on Facebook or anything like that too, because I hated everybody I went to high school with. Like, again, all the jocks and all the other people. And like, I never joined it because I didn't want to see or know anything about those people.
No,
so it's
I get it, yeah. Same here, man.
Yeah.
Like, I still got friends from high school and people I've known a long time, but I didn't go to like reunions. It's like, I didn't like half these motherfuckers when I was there. Like, what am I going to go now? Like, go there and not still like these motherfuckers and be like, but then have them try and be cool with you now. And it's like, man, fuck you, dude. Remember we used to fight? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was hardly, well, of course there was only a couple of us in the hardcore. There was only a couple of like kids that were into punk, and there was only like, and if you skated back then, you were, ostracized. Not that I wasn't a great skater at all, but still, that's kind of just how we got around. And
absolutely, yes.
You just got a bullseye on your back, and yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, you guys later. I'm out of here.
Yeah. So what was it like, leaving Salt Lake, and especially, years ago, like things weren't as, I don't know, like things were a little
Yeah.
more mysterious, right? Because
For sure.
there wasn't like the internet. You couldn't just Google everything. You didn't feel like you
Yeah.
knew everybody that was like that you looked up to because you just see their whole life played out on social media and whatnot. So
Yeah.
things had a little more mystique and whatnot,
It was pretty awesome because everything was exciting.
Yeah.
And also that time of your life, like I moved out here a couple weeks after I turned 20. And I had lined up a job at a Ford dealership in the body shop in Costa Mesa, and I lined up a place to stay in Orange County. And then I'd gotten to know these younger guys. They're still probably mostly almost 10 years older than me at that point, but they're still in their like mid to late 20s doing pre-war Ford hot rods, which again, you can find that all over the place now, but they were basically the guys. They had this little club called the Shifters. And got to know those guys and wound up like getting shop space with them in Fullerton, California. And I don't know, it was bitching. It was some of the most fun time of my life because I didn't have, except for going to work and trying to pay rent. It was probably the brokest I ever was in my life. I think I could eat once a day. But I was where I wanted to be, doing what I wanted to do with the guys I wanted to do it, and away from all that shit. And in California, just like it was like Mecca for me, and just. It's one of those things where you never think it's going to end. And I don't know. It was awesome. It was really great.
Yeah, man. And I think sometimes when I look at, same thing, being in that same age range, and me and my friends like literally saving every penny we had to get to a show or get in the show, and literally splitting a loaf of bread and like a gallon of water, you know what I mean? And like,
yep.
and all that shit. And it was like, you're like, all right, cool. Now I can buy a 7-inch or something. But like, sometimes
Totally.
the less you have, the more you make of things and have, I feel like you have way more appreciation and more fun, like.
That's what drives me nuts about the world we live in is there's nobody earns anything, so nobody appreciates anything. And so I'm so big on that. And maybe I'm too hard stance on that, especially with like, everybody's kids these days. I don't know. We all had to work at a young age, and I'm sure my parents would have wanted it differently if they could have, but I don't know. For as long as I've been paying taxes according to my Social Security statements, I should be retired by now.
I know. Me too.
Yeah, but that's I don't know. I think it just gives you that, like you said, it's the value and the appreciation, and I don't know. You look at everything a bit different.
Yeah, and especially through the eyes of youth, where you're still not like beaten by the fist of the world or whatever. You know what I mean? So,
when you don't realize the world is the way it is.
Yeah, and you don't have as much responsibility, like you said. It was just as long as I can pay rent and I eat enough to survive. Everything's cool. I can just go out and have fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you started off, and then how did you transition from working at a Ford dealership to getting into like working in the hot rod scene, and then obviously also for a while for a long time you were actively involved in the media scene when there still was like magazines and whatnot, but at the time magazines were so important,
Oh, that's all we had. I mean, whether it's bikes or cars or music or whatever it was, like. You lived and died by, what came out that month, and you read that same magazine for 30 more days.
Yeah. Cover to cover. As soon as you got it, you'd be so excited. Just cover,
exactly. Some of those magazines from that time were so influential that I still have them. I mean, I've thrown away thousands of other magazines, but that period, it's just, so the Ford dealership job was a job that seemed legitimate enough to be able to just pull up stakes and not completely freak my parents out too much. And it was good, reliable work. But I don't know, I worked in body shops when I was a teenager too, and I hate doing it. But it was a job. And then, I went from there to my friend Anthony, who was in that Shippers Car Club. He had a hot rod shop in Anaheim, and wound up working with him. And it was just him and his buddy Marky Zardy, and there's an English guy that would kind of come and go too, this guy James Bond. And so finally, I was.
Was James Bond his real name, or was that the nickname because he was English?
James Bond with an M.
I think you said Bond. I was like...
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, an English guy named James Bond. Yeah. That'd be awesome. But yeah, wound up over at Anthony's, and again, he had the passion and the drive. He probably, like a lot of those guys, shouldn't have been trying to run his own business, because eventually the power company came and locked the meter outside one day when he forgot to pay the bill, or forgot. Yeah. And he goes outside and clips the lock on it and turns it back on, and boy, that was a bad move. They didn't take kindly to that, and eventually basically kind of went out of business. And that's actually when I started at Boyd's. Greg had talked to his dad and was like, "Hey, I don't know if you can use anybody, but my buddy's, kind of in a hard way. This other shop's closing down." And he's like, "Yeah, come on down." And wound up working in the body shop there too. But, yeah, I bounced around a little bit after that. I was, moved to Texas with my ex-wife, and was there, and a lot of people love Texas, and I don't want to say anything too bad about it, because they're very proud of that place. I lived there a couple of times. Glad they love it. It's a nice place to visit, and I don't know, being born in the mountain and raised in the mountains, geography and all that stuff, as well as the weather, I could not do. But the food and the people and all that were always great. So it was a tough place for me to live. But so finally got back to California and worked at Boyd's again. And then my buddy, one of my very best friends, Jimmy White, he worked at Boyd's at the time, and coincidentally was also in that Shifters Car Club in the 90s. He has a Hemi-powered Model A coupe that he still has. And I don't know if you remember, a long time ago, it was early YouTube stuff. There was this video of this guy, the Flying Dutchman. He actually wound up doing a bunch of motorcycle photography.
Yeah, I remember he was doing that too. Yeah. I remember him.
Yeah, so
he was on the ham and all that stuff too.
Yeah. So funny tie-in with all this, and it's just how small of a world is. He did a early video and put it on his, I think it was Dead End Cruisers or something. I can't remember what his website was, but and it was my buddy Jimmy getting into his Model A coupe with the Hemi in it, and altered wheelbase, spindle mounts, and so Maurice is in the passenger seat, and they pull out, and Jimmy turns on the Main Street there and just fucking nails it and starts rowing gears, and it's just pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
And again,
I remember that. I remember that.
So funny enough, in the very beginning of that video, there's a skinny young me standing there in this is even more weird, an Elm Street tattoo shirt, which is Oliver Peck's thing, where we're doing the fucking Born Free Dallas. So I'm wearing an Elm Street tattoo shirt, and Jimmy's pulling away, and then all that happens, and so Jimmy worked at Boyd's for a time. He was welding up a lot of the chassis and stuff, and he eventually got dicked around enough with Boyd that Boyd was like, that's how you're going to be, take your shit with you on a Friday or something. And Jimmy starts loading up his stuff a little bit, and Boyd's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm packing up my shit, just like you told me to." No. And he's like, "Nope, I'm out." And I was moving back to California, and Jimmy called me. He's like, "Hey, I heard you're moving. You want to come work for me? I'm starting my own shop." And I was like, "All right, I'm in." Totally. Yeah. And I worked for Jimmy for, I don't know, probably 3 years there. And then a friend of ours, Rob Fortier, who'd been in the magazine biz, he's still there 20 something years later. He did he started with Street Rodder, and coincidentally, that was the first hot rod magazine, or hot rod related magazine, that I bought on my own. It was the September of '96 issue of Street Rodder on how to build a budget T bucket, and Rob wrote the article. And Rob was coming around. He was friends with Jimmy, and he was coming around doing tech article stuff at the shop. But he would offer me jobs every once in a while. I was like, no. I was Jimmy's only employee, and I sweat equity, and really proud of what we were doing. But again, that was a hard line of work, especially back then. Like, again, talk about being broke. Yeah. And eventually, after a couple of years of him doing that, I was like, yeah, all right. And went in and interviewed for the magazine position, for an associate editor position, again, for a job I had basically no qualifications for. On paper, you're supposed to have a bachelor's degree and experience and all that stuff. And I had the photography background, but it's funny because I got the job and it was now digital camera. And I'm like, luckily I knew another guy that worked there. And I was like, hey, how do I get the pictures out of this thing? Because I used to develop all my own film and stuff. And so that was kind of funny. But Rob told me, he's like, look, and I heard it from a lot of other guys too that were Tom McMullen school, because the company at that point was McMullen Publishing or McMullen Artists, and then Peterson Publishing. So Robert Peterson from Hot Rod and Motor Trend and all that. It was those two worlds, which was like the biggest automotive conglomerate. It was like 75 titles. Tom McMullen always said it's easier to teach a car guy how to shoot pictures or to write. You can't teach a photographer how to be a car guy. And so I think that was very much true with me. And I wasn't much for English class and writing when I was in school. And to think that I would have made my living writing. Yeah. I mean, photography was a big part of it, but mostly it was writing. And, it's wild then to have spent a decade in that industry, but we had really good copy editors back then, and Rob was a good editor as well. And so there was, a lot of markups on the stuff I'd come up with. But, when you're talking about something that you're passionate about, the writing becomes a lot easier. Sure. And, I ironed out the grammar and the punctuation and all that stuff. And, and when I started getting compliments from readers, they'd write in on my articles. I was like, wow, what a trip. Yeah. But again, college isn't everything.
No, I think, depending on what you want to do, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think you can pretty much.
I'm no doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think you're going to fumble your way through and get a surgeon job without having any training or schooling. You know what I mean? But
exactly.
But in any of the trades, like you're almost better off not going to college.
I think so. Just getting as much experience on the job experience as you can is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was there for. It was just a couple of months, under 10 years, and I worked on Super Chevys, and then was a Classic Trucks magazine for about 5 years. And then on the side is when Courtney Halliwell was at the company. He passed away, but he was over the motorcycle side of things, and Street Chopper was down to one issue a year, which again, that side of the business was started with that magazine. Yeah. So they were basically going to kill it, but it was the post like 2000 big tire thing and faded, and the people left on staff were still from that era and didn't really know, and they were just kind of bumbling through each issue, and sales dwindling, and it was coming close to 40th anniversary of Street Chopper, and it's like, well, fuck, we got to do something. And Brian Brennan, who Tom McMullen hired when he was a kid, basically, I mean, probably 16 or something. Brian Brennan was still at the company. He was like, I don't know, publisher or something. And I think he might even still work with Rob and a couple other guys that broke off and started their own magazines a couple of years ago, since everything else went to shit. But so there was a lot of old Street Chopper alumni around Orange County still. Steve Stillwell, oh God, again, stuff I hadn't thought about in a while. Brian, Bob Clark. There was again, the original dudes writing all those original articles and shooting all that stuff that were there for all the gnarly McMullen stuff behind the scenes. And so it got a lot of them together for a 40th anniversary Street Chopper party. And I think we'd done one issue. And again, I was salary in another on the other magazine, but this was just so much fun because it's like, all right, my friends like John Edwards, got to shoot his panhead, and I was over there when he was building the bike, and we're talking about this parts or whatever, and he paints it. And a lot of the Southern California traditional choppers, again, this is pre-born free and still just blog driven stuff. It was a lot of those bikes that were pretty iconic from that time. I saw come together and knew the guys personally. So it was really fun after shooting and riding about strangers' vehicles for a long time. Not that those people were bad or anything, but I finally got to tell a lot of these stories firsthand, and it was really fun, I think, for me and my friends and the people I was shooting that to kind of be able to present it in the magazine that way. And it became a lot of fun. It became probably more of a distraction than it should have. Again, I was supposed to be doing something else for my day job, but I was doing all this nights and weekends, but spending a lot of time with it. But I think those first few issues, especially where all that stuff went in, they started getting traction and selling and stuff. And pretty soon it was like, quarterly, and then it was bi-monthly, and really kind of got the thing stoked back up. And that's like, and then that's Born Free happened, and then this kind of everything ramping up from there. And I don't know. That was a fun period there before magazines totally went tits up.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, and I remember that. And then it started dwindling again. Like back down to quarterly, then back down to like one a year or whatever. And it's sad, man, because I don't know if we're just like dinosaurs, but like I like magazines. Like I like holding it. I like flipping through it. I like that better. It's cool to scroll through Instagram or whatever, but
it's so temporary.
Yeah. Like just
the magazines are archival, and it's to me, and I'm sure you the same way. It's reference material kind of for your whole life. There's those features and those articles or coverage on this, or your buddy's thing was in that. And I don't know. I think that there was so much clout and kind of respect and recognition that goes along with that. Where I don't know. I think every day now that yes, we probably are dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And nobody gives a fuck. But
it also goes back to like we were talking about earlier. You were mentioning like paying dues. Like you had to have a good bike or a good story or a good hot rod or whatever to get featured in a magazine because there was only so much room.
Hell yeah.
So you couldn't take. There wasn't 10,000 people online posting 40,000 pictures every 12 seconds. You know what I mean? It was
totally. It was like the grand sorting process. It was man, you could really kind of bank off, once you're stuck with the magazine, especially if you're a shop or something, it was like, man, it really puts you on the map. Especially for the home builder guys to have something in a magazine is like, holy shit, doesn't get any better.
Absolutely. I just feel like it meant a little more, like it was just a little more achievement,
No,
it's I don't know. We're just being nostalgic, I think.
I know. But I'm sitting in this room where I've got a lot of stuff framed, just whatever. I've got my records in here, and then there's actually a magazine feature from 2005 and Street Rodder where Jimmy and I built the cars that are on the cover, and things framed up in a plaque, and it's probably been there so long I hadn't noticed it until now, but. Okay, I can look at that, and I know who's going to print out their Instagram features or their blog features, or I was on a website once, or I was on I don't know.
It's like
I don't know where we go from here.
Yeah. Who wasn't on a website once, or who wasn't on Instagram? You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
I could take a picture of this Gatorade bottle and put it up. You know what I mean? Like, and it goes out to the world in like 2 seconds from now. You know what I mean? But yeah. It's funny too. Something you said earlier, like, oh yeah, like when you were talking about the Nova and stuff, like, oh yeah, but at that time no one cared. Like, I remember that too. Like in like 2001, I bought a 71 true matching numbers Super Sport Chevelle for like $5,500 in Pennsylvania. Drove it home. And drove it for like 4 years. It was like for 2 years it was my daily driver, and I lived in Dorchester, South Boston, and it was like my daily driver every year. And then, you know, a few years later I sold it for like double the money and did nothing ever. Then the only thing I ever had to do was put a steering box in it, but like other than that, it just, and then now if I had that car, it's like 40-50 grand. I'm like, why the fuck did I sell that thing? You know what I mean? Just dumb shit like that. It's funny how things, you know, rotate around. What
it really is.
But think about how many people were just junking like flatheads or you know, flathead V8s or like or knuckleheads for that matter, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Old farm trucks, and now it's just so expensive. You're on Bring a Trailer, you get some shitty old flatbed truck.
I know. I have a 70 C10, and like there's like a waiting list of people trying to buy it off me. I'm like, dude, this is like, no, I'm not selling it. I bought it off one of my best friends. It's not for sale.
I don't even want to talk about my last C10. It actually wound up in Boston. The guy out there bought it.
Oh, did
72 he? This guy Mike Sinkowitz. Short bed, fleet side. I did all the chassis stuff. It was slammed on Kragers and 1-inch white walls, but had a LS motor in it, but still like Cheyenne Super interior. It was just, oh man, I sold that thing for $10,000.
Oh yeah, yeah, with all that work in it, man. Mine's the Cheyenne too. It's got all that the tooled leather and stuff. It's cool.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. That color. That, you know, that whatever you call it. Not colorway. What do they call those? Like that edition. You know what I mean, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Cheyenne,
that body style.
Yeah. Mine's the long bed though, with the toolbox in it.
That's all right. Dude, long beds have gotten a lot of respect lately, and
I like it better. I can put a bike in the back. Yeah, I can put I can put a chopper in it and put the gate up. It's all right.
Yeah. Exactly. Once guys figured out the usefulness of long bed 4-wheel drive old trucks, it's like, man, those things are a pretty penny now.
If they drop, they look cool too, because it's just like a big land shock, you know. But
definitely.
So let's. I mean, dude, like that was a cool like little talk, because it made me remember a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Because you know, some of it like
it's easy to forget all that.
Yeah, and just, you know, with people, some people I know, some people, you know, I just followed from the magazines or whatever, and that's cool. So Born Free, how did you guys come up with that, and you know, talk a little bit about the origins of that, because I mean that's a, you know, super iconic show in the custom motorcycle world. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know the background.
Kind of dumb luck, right place at the right time, I guess. We had put together a couple of rides just out at Cook's Corner out there at the Canyon Pass Born Free. And again, super blog driven days. So my buddy Mike Davis, Born Loser blog, he had his thing, and Harpoon and I were doing the Freedom Machinery and Accessories thing. And he was a screen print and graphic design teacher, and obviously painter and pinstriper and stuff. And, you know, we started printing shirts at the school that he taught at. He taught screen printing at Diamond Bar High School in Rico, and there nights, weekends, and make the chopper shirts that we wanted that nobody sold. And, you know, but we also had enough respect to not just rip off the old shirts from Easy Rider. We were making our own, because again, Harpoon was so creative with all that stuff. And so, we started doing that. You know, Mike was doing his thing, and then, we put together a couple of these rides, and a lot of people started showing up, and literally it was only a couple. And it's like, oh man, you know, we go to some of these big shows and out at the fairgrounds, and I shouldn't say too much of this now just because Born Free's gotten expensive. But at the time, it was like, you know, it's so much money to park, and there's so much money to get in, like the Easy Rider shows, and you know, it's $15 for a hot dog and $15 for a beer, and we saw 3 bikes we liked. You know, again, it was different times. You know, all the bikes were still a lot of big tire stuff and just gaudy over the top, whatever. And it's like, man, if we could get all of our friends together for one day, fuck, it'd be a great show. But, you know, everybody's so distracted here. There's too many things going on all year long, and but we'd have friends that have barbecues, and we'd ride over to their house, and there'd be, I don't know, 5 to a dozen bikes parked on the curb in front of a friend's house, just again for a barbecue, no other reason. And like, man, there's better bikes on this curb than there was at that show,
Yeah.
And that was kind of the motivation. And so we just threw the thing together in 30 days. I made a flyer in Photoshop, and we put it out there on the blogs. And yeah, it was hotter than hell. September is one of the hottest months out here. But we had guys from like Minnesota, like all the heavy crew, and guys from the Bay Area and the Pacific Northwest and Arizona and Vegas, and kind of all over the place, which blew us away. We had no idea. And we're like, this is everything we could ever hope for. We had pickled eggs, and I don't know, we had some old trophies we just kind of gave out as recognition for whatever. Again, just fun. It was basically a glorified barbecue.
Yeah.
And Scott Pommier had come, and he set up, this is just a little industrial complex in Orange, the city of Orange in Orange County. And there was a friend with a Triumph shop in there. And then actually my buddy Jimmy, his hot rod shop was also in the same complex, but long, skinny little parking lot, nothing you would ever think. Like, I don't even like parking my van in there, but we wound up being able to have a show there. And I don't know, there was maybe 100 bikes at best. Probably not even that much if I tried to really go back and look at pictures. Maybe 60, 80 bikes, and maybe a couple hundred people throughout the day. And Scott Pommier had made this little makeshift sort of studio in one of the empty shops, and shot I don't know, a dozen bikes or so. And I wrote up a little thing and put it in Street Chopper and used a bunch of those pictures and some other ones. And that was really about it. Blogs, and everybody's like, oh, kumbaya, that was fun. And so we're like, well, I guess we had a good response. And like, well, let's do another one next year. So we did one down the street from actually where my house is in Long Beach right now. Technically it's Signal Hill, but we call it Long Beach, even though Signal Hill didn't like that. And so we closed off one block in front of this dude's old bike shop, Pacific Coast Cycles, Mike O'Brien, who unfortunately passed away last year. And we bought 5,000 cans of Pabst, and we had a taco cart and hot dog on a stick, and people just kept showing up. We had 4 porta potties, and we had no clue that so many people were going to come. We didn't know how many people were going to come, period.
Yeah, sure.
Or if anybody would even like come again.
Before pre-sales and things like that, so it's just more roll the dice.
So free. Yeah, we had actually put together a panhead with some other friends of ours that we were going to give away through the tickets and stuff, and just for fun. And I think, so we did that, and then people kept showing up, and there was close to 5,000 people that showed up throughout the course of the day. And dude, if it lasted 4 more minutes, that was like, I don't know, we probably would have gotten clubbed by the police because they were on edge at the end of the day because people were pissing in the street. The porta potties were full, and this was before weed was legal out here too. People were smoking weed in the bushes, and there's a river of piss coming out from where we had the beer. And just like nothing happened. There was no incident, and it was actually back when all the clubs were getting along out here too. Apparently there was 26 clubs there or something throughout the day, and all the heavy hitters, and then all the old clubs and stuff. But everybody had a fucking great time, and we got lucky again, and again, more good coverage and just buzz, people talking about it. And
I think, the thing too, though, is you got to think is back then, right? There wasn't as much going on. And then you had those like 12 bikes or whatever in Street Chopper. And then that probably resonated with people. People had a whole year to think about, man, I got to get out there fucking next year. And there wasn't like 5 million other shows to distract you. Like, it was like, that was a destination.
Yeah, because that was 2009. I think, aside from, and by no means did we invent the motorcycle show at all, and we have no ownership of any of that stuff. We're just, at this time there wasn't a lot going on. I think there was smoke out stuff, and then Brooklyn Invitational started around the same time too. A totally different format, obviously, but
and there's not as much room to
of
grow in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Like, it's
no,
going to
but that was
stay
fun
aside.
too.
Yeah.
It was cool that these things were popping up at the same time on opposite sides of the country. And we went out there a handful of times too, and it's New York's so fun, anyways, or at least used to be. And so that was really kind of about it for our peers and all of that
genre or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. So it was super fun, super exciting.
Because 2009, there was still the wide tire dudes hanging around. There was still some of the hangers on. That was still happening. Yeah,
for sure. They were looking at all of us, going like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. I remember to this day. I remember. So, like, I was on my Triumph chopper. This is, my first Triumph chopper. It was a 64, coffin tank, long Springer and everything. And some dude was on his, like, Choppers Inc. knockoff bike with, like, the big tire and, the prison bars. And he's like, yeah, don't worry, dude. Someday you'll get there. Like meaning, like, I'll get up to his bike. And I was like, fuck you, dude. Like, fuck. Like, I was like, I'll knock you the fuck off your bike and take it and sell it. And then fucking, you know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, I'm here, bro. I'm here.
It was on fire.
Yeah, I'm fucking here, dude. Like, I don't know where you're going. But anyway, I remember there was a little contention in like people, some of those guys they came up in that off of TV. They didn't understand the origins and like the history of the chopper and like what we were into, and so they just thought we were on like these rinky little fucking bikes and they were on these big fucking whatevers, you know what I mean? And it was like,
exactly.
Nah, dude, I ain't trying to go
Two
that
worlds
way.
Collide.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know. That time was so fun. I guess it's easy to get jaded now, and hopefully the people just getting into it now are as equally as stoked as we all were back then. It's
your fault, man. You guys blew it up and fucking ruined it.
It's everybody else's fault. They kept showing up.
I'm just fucking
literally. No, but seriously, for years, those first few years, we didn't think it was going to last one more year. Yeah. We didn't think we would be, especially like as we're looking at, we didn't think anybody would come back the second year. And then so many people came back and like, I guess we got to do it. So, but we needed a bigger place. And we actually moved for Born Free 3 to where we're still at now, which we could use far more space. But back then we go out and look at this place and we're like, holy shit, are we ever going to be able to fill this? And man, this is a big leap and we're putting our nuts on the line. I mean, the first show cost us $1,200 or something. And, we didn't really have anything to sell, and then, it was just fun. We did it for fun.
Sure.
Because that's the only reason we were doing it. And had we known that we'd still be doing it, probably would have done stuff a little bit differently, but I don't know. And maybe not. So, we didn't think there was going to be a longevity to this. So every one that we did, we tried to do it the best we could, had the most fun. Again, this wasn't going to be a business. This wasn't going to be anything. This was just like, hey, we have people's attention. Let's put on the show that we want to go to.
Yeah.
And Born Free 3, we move out to O'Caney Ranch. And funny enough, we had the show bikes on the side where the vendors are now, because the other side is way bigger. And we're like, there's no way we're going to be able to fill that. So we had vendors on the big side where the show is now. And so it's flip-flops that first year. And but people still showed up. Like, shit, what are we going to do? Like, we're going to still do this? No, they're not. They got to stop coming at some point. Literally every year, we didn't think we'd still be doing it the next year. And we kind of just kept doing it out of obligation.
Yeah. When did it set in that you're going to have to just keep doing it? When did that set in?
Probably Born Free 5.
Yeah.
So Born Free 5 was gnarly. It almost killed so many people in many ways. There was a crazy heat wave, and then Born Free 5 was the last year. It was one day, and it was still free at this time to get in. And so there's this heat wave, and Born Free is kind of one way in, one way out. That road out there. And so somebody took it upon themselves to have this like mud run using our parking lot at the end of this dead end road and they looked at our flyer or something. Again, we've been out there for a couple of years, so the city knows what we're doing. The sheriffs, all these people know what we're doing. How this other mud run thing happened is unbeknownst to us still, because they looked at our start time. Oh, 10 a.m. we'll be done. They're all coming out at like 8 o'clock in the morning, leaving as the deluge for, again, the 1 day Born Frees were insane.
Yeah.
So everybody is coming in as these people are trying to come out, and there's a backup of traffic that people still talk about that went for miles, and ultimately the highway patrol got involved, that went out on the toll road and all this stuff. And so there was that. There was like, I don't know, half the builders were late, and like really late. And back then, and with all that stuff, we learned as we go, and we used to try to be really rigid about things, because that's what builders' feedback was. Is like, all right, if you're late, then you're not eligible to win Best in Show or Invited Builder. And you don't get the money, and you don't get to go to Japan and all this stuff. But there were so many guys that were late that we took a vote on it, and we're like, all right, well, you guys are, again, a vote amongst yourselves for the winners. So let's take a vote and see if the guys that are not here should be allowed in all that. And again, this is all learning experience, and we never wanted it to be that serious, but guys took it that serious. So we kind of like, changed the rules as the years go by, as we all agree on it. And dude, that we were not liked after that, especially amongst the guys that were late. Some of them understood it. They're like, yep, no problem, I fucked up. But a lot of guys were just, but then all of a sudden it was all of our own fault, even though we told them for a year where they had to be in what time. But, there was all of this stuff coming down, and after that show, Mike and I looked at it. It was like, we have to either quit, give it up, or figure out how to retool this thing, because it almost killed us, and it almost killed so many other people. And it was, we said we'd keep doing it as long as it's fun.
Yeah.
And that was not fun. And it wasn't fun for a lot of people behind the scenes. I mean, everybody else that went to the show probably had no clue, except for the people that had to wait in traffic and stuff. Willie G, it took them 4 hours to get in. They decided to go that year. It's like, Jesus, I would have fucking turned around. I don't want to wait in line for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was when we started having to take it more serious.
Sure.
Because we had to really reinvest in the show to fix all that stuff, because again, we started this because we don't like how a lot of those other big shows were running. And lines are one of them. It's a big thing. I don't want to wait in line for bathroom. I don't want to wait in too long of a line for food or beer or to get in or any of these things. So, is this in our control? Okay, well, let's find out. So that's when we went to 2 days, and that's when we started charging admission, because we had to spend, I don't know, and this is, again, back Born Free 6, I think. We spent $250,000 on Born Free 6.
Wow. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So in 5 years, it went from $1,200 to $250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And as the show kept growing, even before that, we're like, all right, now we can add this to it. Now we can do this. We can, we would just keep dumping the money back into the show, because we didn't think, again, the longevity was still going to be there. So it's like, we don't want to just take the money and run.
Yeah.
But we want to still put on this best show. And then here we are faced with, trying to retool. It worked. Luckily, it worked really well. The problem is there was $0 left after the next year, which, again, it's not all about the money, and definitely wasn't at that time. But it's like, who spends $250,000 in a year's worth of work to not make $1? It was kind of a down year for us, and just kind of emotionally, if you will. But
and that's always kind of like the problematic side of things. People see the scope of it, and they think you guys are just rolling around in fucking cash, and it's like, I put on events, I get it, you know what I mean? But if people don't do that, they don't get it. They just see, oh man, these dudes, blah blah blah, and it's like, no, they probably ain't making that much. At the end of the day, you don't think about insurances, fucking how much all this shit is to rent, fucking,
we spend more on porta potties
fucking porta potties.
Oh yeah, there's 40 grand in porta potties there, and your chick can find a clean shitter the second day. But nobody thinks about that, But so we had to be more business conscious after that while still maintaining the quality, which none of us, or neither one of us, were event promoters. And still really aren't. I mean, we're still trying to figure out a lot of things that maybe we should or shouldn't know, that events people, I'm sure, know. But I don't
know. I think that's kind of the beauty of it, dude. The DIY stuff, and you know what I mean.
I agree.
You know what I mean. So
what we don't know is what we don't know, and we just went about it the best way we could to have the best outcome. We wanted everybody to have fun. We want to have fun. And again, it's kind of our time in the sun here to showcase, what everybody that we know and like is doing. So here we go. Here's how we're going to do it. So, even like the giveaway bike stuff, it's been a ton of fun. Unfortunately, it's mostly just promotion as far as, we don't sell nearly enough tickets for it to be this giant windfall. It's fun to do. And, those years where we did it where like, hey, you could pick one of these builder bikes. That was kind of fun. And guy picked the Triumph pre-unit Triumph Trike.
I remember that. Yeah.
Who would have ever thought?
I was there for that one. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's cool.
yeah. I know. So much of this stuff we could have never made up or even guessed. But it's all been fun. There's it's been cool to have the Wall of Death there now, and the Vans vert ramp, which used to be the old Warped Tour ramp. I don't know. We've tried to be conscious about making the show better. It's hard to keep it fresh after all these years because there is some stuff that's formulaic, but it works. But like we cut like 40 vendors, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and coincidentally to make room for the ramp. But it was also a lot of kind of repeat stuff and kind of problematic vendors, and I probably shouldn't say that on the air here, but some of the vendors were the biggest problem we ever had with any aspect of the show. But then it's like, how many people can you have there selling vintage Harley shirts, and how many people doing leather stuff, and how many chicks selling jewelry? It's so much repetition that then it takes away from, if you're there as a vendor, I want you to have a great time. I want you to sell as much shit as you can sell. And I want you to be happy to come back and pay for your booth again. And you'll get preferential treatment every year. You get first rights to sign up. And especially after we cut all those, it helps make the show better.
Yeah.
So we have a waiting list of probably 200 vendors every year. And I feel bad because there's a lot of good people that I'd love to get in, but with 17 acres goes really, really fast. We fill up every square inch. So,
and just the amount of bikes that show up, you know what I mean? It's bananas. And that's one of the best things I think about the show is like, it's great. Like the builder bikes are awesome. You know what I mean? But the 30,000 bikes that are in the parking lot, like where it's all mostly rad choppers, like is fucking cool too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So, it's been hard to give the new people, as it were, a shot, just, in all aspects, vendors, even builders, the People Champ thing's been good for that to help get the new talents, kind of a platform, because we don't, back when we started, we kind of knew everybody, for lack of a better term, not in an arrogant way, but it was just so small that, you knew who was doing what and
all across the country. Yeah, all across the country.
Oh, yeah.
We all knew, we all had an eye. It's the same thing, dude. I get it. We all had an eye on everything. It's so huge now.
Yeah, it's hard to keep that finger on the pulse.
Yeah, I used to know everyone in Massachusetts with a chopper for the most part. You know what I mean? And now I got kids riding by my shop I'm like, who the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So it's we're trying to rely a lot on other people for referrals for people, because something we get questioned a lot about. It's like, how do I be a builder? It's like, well, there's kind of a lot of factors that go in there, and it's kind of hard to explain, but we don't know everybody's capabilities or who they are anymore. So we do keep trying to get new blood in there. We got accused for years of being California centric, even though we've tried to be actually since the very beginning of like the builder stuff, try to keep it out of California as much as we can. But there's good people all over the place. It's just a matter of finding them. But I don't know. It's
it's probably a lot. It's probably a lot to think about and kind of put in an order and talk about. You know what I mean? Like it's huge. You know?
Yeah, it seems like it's been forever, but it also seems like it's also just been like yesterday since it started. It's definitely didn't think we'd still be doing it. That's for damn sure.
So,
but also along those lines too, when everybody thinks we're millionaires, because there is always a constant rumor that I hear still to this day. It's been around for a long time. Is that either Vans owns it, or Harley owns it, or Moon Eyes owns it? And while I wish that may be true, I'm sitting here talking to you because it's still just Mike and I.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to be a millionaire for whatever, in it, I was asked, well, so how much was it this time? When somebody says, I heard, you guys sold the thing. I was like, well, I'm at the swap meet at 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning begging you to buy a t-shirt. And if that were the case, don't you think I'd be at home in bed?
Yeah.
But, people are funny.
It's weird, man. It's like, I tell people all the time, and it's probably, I'm not saying anything but it's probably more so true here, where in New England than like places where there's more of a riding season. But you got to be into the bike industry because you love it, because there's very few ways to become like rich in the motorcycle industry. You know what I mean? It's more you do this because you love it. It's a hard road. You know what I mean? No matter what you're doing, there's a lot of work for not as much payoff. But the payoff has to be that you're doing some shit you love. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, you ain't going to be in that long.
Yeah, especially in the custom market now, where the value has turned to stock bikes, in a lot of cases, that custom stuff is, it's hard. It's so running a fabrication shop, or, you're building custom bikes or cars. It was a hard way to make a living in the beginning, unless you were really lucky to have, those high-end clients or those kind of golden gooses. So, anybody that can do that and maintain that, especially in the climate today of local government not making it very easy to run a small business, honestly.
Yeah. Dude, especially out by you. Like, I got to send dude pipes. I got to send dude pipes all the time. Like, I'm like, you can't. I was like, that pipe is made in California. You mean I got to order it and then ship it to you because you can't order it in California? What the fuck?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's
fucking bananas, dude. Like, but yeah.
Totally bananas.
That's a whole other podcast right there, man. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. We'll try to keep this one fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. and not to mention, the whole world is the rest of the United States is held captive by California law, because everything has to be California compliant now. Fuck you guys, man. I'm just kidding.
If people actually knew that, like, the inmates were running the asylum, they wouldn't be looking here for all this, like, guidance. And I don't know.
I think the writing's on the wall where a lot of the good people of California have left California.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody I know that does that, they get out and they're away for a while. They're like, and they come back and it's like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking this place sucks.
Yeah. Well, what sucks is that it's beautiful and it's very conducive.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was and still is like the hub for, for motorsport type stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like, so some things are easier because, like, it's like, oh, you want this? Oh, you can just go right down the street. They make it right over there or whatever, you know what I mean? Or these guys are here.
That's one of the very first things that I thought of that I know that I'm going to miss when the time comes is just the availability of everything, materials, parts, abrasives, just almost anything. We're so spoiled, and it's been great to have access to all that all these years. And, even just legendary shops and, anybody that does any kind of service, engine builders, machinists, painters, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting any of that stuff. And, that's what's always made, Southern California the mecca for, automotive, motorcycles, and motorsports, like you're saying. It really is the land of milk and honey with that. But, and I don't know.
Yeah.
There's more to it than that.
Sure. No, I get it. What is that what's kind of fueling you thinking about moving? Or is it more just because of family or something? Or
no, mostly that. Things have gotten so expensive here too. The shop that Mike and I in Harpoon had for a little over a decade, the rent had doubled, and more and more often now, you cannot, if you say you're doing any sort of like automotive type anything, you cannot rent industrial space.
Yeah.
It's getting really, really difficult. And like, I don't know, when we first got our place, it was 68 cents a foot, which was a deal back then. I think normally it was 80 cents a foot. And now a good deal is like $1.40 a foot for industrial kind of commercial stuff, without any consideration for retail. And, I live right next to the Port of Long Beach here, and there used to be so many rad old shops over here, and they were cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot of rad old shops, but they were cheap, way cheaper in Orange County. And it's just, I don't know, it's cost prohibitive because my partner Mike moved to Oregon a couple of years ago, and when he was telling me this, I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? I had a lot of crap in there, and I work on stuff quite a bit, and I didn't really ever do service work or customer work. I've done that, in the past in the hot rod stuff, and I just knew it's a hard way, and so I was mostly working on stuff that I was buying and fixing up and selling, or bikes that I was building and selling, but not really with any customer interaction. And there's almost no options. I shouldn't say that because I'm sure there are. There's very little options for antique motorcycle service out here. Yeah. And it's one of the questions I get asked all the time from people that are great people that I would love for them to enjoy their bike, but there's only one or two people that I would even consider taking my own stuff to. And they're crazy booked out now and yada, yada, yada. It's unfortunate because a lot of this stuff isn't rocket science. I mean, it's like, oh, who can I have rebuild my linker to? Yeah. I got to get, again, flathead, panhead, knucklehead stuff, whatever. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'll turn the shop. Our shop was 2,000 square feet. And like, maybe I could give a go at this. And I thought about it. I was crunching numbers. And again, you're one person, or even if you're two people, you can only build so many hours in a day. Yep. And nothing ever goes right, especially with old stuff. And especially now.
Everything's a can of worms. Everything's a can of worms.
Dude, everything. And aftermarket parts have gotten shittier. So I know, like, Keo that used to work for Yoshi at the garage company out here. Keo is in my opinion, one of the very best engine builders, especially with knuckleheads. He's so fastidious and so, like, I don't know, you get a pack of back with everything that he put his calipers or his mic on, and it bench runs everything. He's just really, really amazing. And he was apologizing to me a while ago on the last motor I had him do. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to raise my rates. The aftermarket parts are making the work even more difficult than it had been. And I was like, I understand. You don't have to tell me that. A lot of people wouldn't, but you're having to re-engineer all this stuff that you're paying good money for, and then how do you justify charging the customer? I don't know. I was excited for a minute, and then I thought about it, and then I was terrified. And then plus, a new entity in California pops up all the time now. It's like the franchise tax board is trying to tax you yearly on your tools, your equipment, your shelving.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like, every year there's somebody new sticking their hand out and taxing you on all of this stuff that you've already paid for and already paid the tax on and yada, yada, yada. And just like, how the fuck are you supposed to do this? And especially like, I've never had employees. So but I know, once you have employees, and
that's a whole different level of taxation. Now there's an employee tax, there's Social Security, and corporate taxes. This is bananas, dude. My last podcast episode was all about this shit. I had an accountant on who wanted to remain anonymous, and we talked all about crazy tax shit. It's fucking bananas, dude. Yeah. As a small business owner, like my blood's boiling just right now with you talking about this, because I'm like, dude,
ultimately they don't want small business owners here.
No,
basically, they want you suckling at the teeth, and not to get off on the political rant, but Jerry Brown, the old governor here, said I think in the '90s, that the taxpayers are a burden on the system, and then he got reelected after that. And it's going to be a welfare state, and that's just how they want it. And I don't know.
It's crazy.
So they've ruined the place.
It's crazy, yeah. It's just the climate for small business in general. Never mind automotive type related stuff. And then and the other problem is now it's led a lot of people out of the field. Like I've been trying to get another tech. I could use another probably 2 techs here for the amount of work we have, and I can't find anyone, man. No one wants to do it anymore. It's crazy because
exactly. Yeah,
I get it. But so
I don't know what everybody's doing that aren't working, but I don't. Here we are, still working.
Yeah. Everybody I know that owns a business is trying to find someone, whether it's automotive or whatever the business is. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
And no one can find anybody. I'm like, where did everyone go? Like,
absolutely.
Like, everyone's still here. Like, what are they doing?
Yep.
But that's a question that we won't answer right now. But so we've talked a little bit about the origins of and kind of like the origins, and also kind of like the thought and the mission of Born Free. What's going on? You guys are expanding out to Texas and doing a Born Free in Texas.
Yeah.
What talk a little bit about that and the impetus for that, and what you guys got planned for that, because that's coming up soon.
Yeah.
That's coming.
It is, 6 weeks or something, October 22nd, 23rd. So we've been propositioned by a lot of people over the years to do a Born Free somewhere else. We were looking at doing one on the East Coast, I don't know, 5 years ago. And it's hard because
there's no room.
And Mike and I just well, the harder part, and as even just with your shop, and you've done events too, the hard part is the help. And it makes or breaks you, and it's still the hardest thing to find. So Mike and I still have sort of stuck to doing this where we do it out here, how we do it. And despite what it looks, and it blows people's minds, I guess I'll toot our horns for a quick second, that we do pull off what we do in the scale that we do with just us and basically our families and a few friends. And we are, again, not an event team, and we should be at this point. If we were smart, we'd get more help. But we do it in kind of a pretty rigid way, and we don't stop. I mean, we barely stop to eat. It's, especially when the event's here. Yeah. So ultimately, the decision to not do it other places happened just because we weren't sure that we were going to be able to get the help to pull off what we're used to being able to pull off. Again, not even that it has to be this big or whatever, but just in the way that we do it. We actually tried to do one in Japan, and we hit up Shige and the Moon Eyes guys, because we actually patterned what we do off of what they do, and our experience over there is what got us going on kind of I would say a higher level in a lot of stuff. Just, I don't know, there's so much respect, and the way, I don't know.
I went to Moon Eyes in 2005. We had a bike in that. And literally, that was one of the best experiences ever. Even in 2005, I was like, oh, here's where all the knuckleheads are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't mean dudes. I didn't mean dudes in the crowd. I meant the bikes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the bikes, exactly. Yeah. But it's that, the way they, I don't know, kind of the way they do all that was how we wanted to do this. And so we were looking at maybe doing something in Japan. Obviously, some tremendous barriers there. The language, for one, being that it's 6,000 miles away, is another one. And we don't know, you get out of Tokyo and the big cities, and it gets really difficult communication wise. And then dealing with government permits and yada yada yada.
Sure.
And we asked Shige and his team. Told them what we wanted to do. Obviously, need their giant support and help. So we weren't trying to be competition, and would rely on them heavily. And they considered it, thought about it, and they ultimately had to decline because they were too busy and couldn't devote. Which we appreciate that kind of response instead of getting into something and being like, oh fuck, this thing just kind of crumbled. So.
You guys are kind of bananas just for doing the Texas one after, because I can imagine I'm sure you got enough on the table with the California one,
So yeah, it's funny. So Oliver and Chemical Candy Scott or Randy, depending on who you're talking to, they both were like, man, we got to do something. Let's do something. You know how Oliver is; he just wants to have fun all the time, and he's like, let's do something in Texas. Let's do it. And we're like, well, I mean, that sounds great, but there's a couple things. The Fandango and the Hill Country in the spring has been taken off, and we, again, in the idea of support and not competition, so we need all the Texans behind us if we're going to do this, even with Oliver kind of leading the charge. So we talked about it, kept talking about it. And then they wound up buying, because Oliver is like, man, I found the perfect place to do an event like Born Free Texas. And he's talking about the Yellow Rose Canyon site, which is 117 acres. Again, where Born Free is 17 acres. So just colossally bigger. And like, okay, well, that's great, but still, like, how's this going to work? And trying to figure out dynamics and who's going to do what and just kind of all that behind the scenes stuff. And after probably, I don't know, a year and a half or maybe even 2 years of kicking this around, we finally came up with kind of an agreement on how to work. Because, everything sounds good going into it, but what happens when shit hits the fan, or there's problems, and then it gets serious, and what does that look like, and who's doing what, and whatever. So it is a perfect place for something like this. They've got everything there. It's the opposite of Born Free California, where it's like, all right, here you are for 5 hours, now get the fuck out, or come back tomorrow. But you can't stay here, you can't camp here, all that stuff. So it's really intriguing to have all that space. And, a lot of those giant car shows that have been around forever are the biggest ones in the country. They're in the Midwest and Texas, because they're kind of centrally located in the country. And, as much as California helped us for a long time as being a destination, I don't know if that's still true. I mean, it's probably in a little aspect, but, maybe people are looking for something else now too. And again, there are a lot of other shows and a lot of other options. So this may or may not be a good idea. We'll see.
Yeah, but
there's a lot.
One of the things that I really like about the California Born Free is, the show obviously, but the canyon riding around the show is fucking bananas. Bananas. And if you have, you're like on the East Coast, we don't have that, right? Or up here, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
So it's beautiful, it's crazy.
In.
Yeah.
So, it would be cool, and maybe it's easier, because again, if you're coming from the East Coast and trying to ride the Born Free, like a lot of people have done, it's, round trip doing it all, it's 17 days. It seems about the average for, kind of a speedier trip. But, most people can't take off 3 weeks. So maybe Texas is going to be a lot easier for people to get to. And again, you can show up, you can actually start camping Friday evening, and there's a party down in Nacogdoches that Chemical Candy Scott's putting on. And then, we'll have the show Saturday and camping Saturday night. Show still on Sunday, probably peter out in the afternoon as people try to get on the road or whatever. But we have the ability to have people for the whole weekend, and there's all the RV hookup spots. There's acres of woods for tent camping. They built a flat track there, and then there's dirt drag right next to the flat track. There's space to trying to put together a big antique motorcycle swap meet or vintage motorcycle swap meet. We'll have new vendors there as well, and the show bikes. Like we're trying to keep it fun and low key, like how we started. We don't want to get in and be too big for our britches and expect that it's going to be whatever. So it's just easy breezy, fun awards, no giveaway bikes. There'll be bands playing. There's a little stage over in the woods by where the camping's going to be. Trying to get Danger Dan to maybe do like a Saturday night party thing out there, but on site. And just I don't know, more fun. It's funny because, and I know it's just random people on the internet or on the Board Free Instagram. It's like, oh, so is there going to be especially like giveaway bikes. It's like, no, we don't have to give away bikes to get you to come. Hopefully, that shouldn't be a requisite anymore. We just want this to be fun, and I don't know, just kind of something different.
And it's the first one, so you don't know how it's going to be. So you gotta.
Yeah, exactly. We hope that we get a couple thousand people.
Yeah.
I think it's a realistic goal.
There's a lot of riders in Texas too. So even if you just got the people from Texas, you should have a couple thousand, right?
Exactly. And it's a beautiful time of year for there as everything else is cooling down. It'll still probably be 70s, maybe even low 80s during the day, which is perfect. And, the fall in Texas is less chance for tornadoes and rain and all that shit. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like a good idea. 6 weeks from now, we'll find out if that was a good idea or not. But I don't know. It's exciting and it's terrifying. I mean, we get, not that we're used to what we have out here, because we get freaked out every year. We're just like, oh, what if we still have dreams every year that nobody shows up or whatever. We don't want to expect anything and
sure.
be that overly confident or cocky about any of it, because shit changes and people change, like the year we canceled it, I mean, we never thought we'd have to cancel it because of the fucking flu.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Never thought we'd have to cancel the world for 2.5 years.
Yeah. Jesus. Yep. Exactly. So I don't know. It's fun, or it's exciting, and it's a little terrifying for us. But I don't know. I think regardless of who is there or how many people there, we're gonna have fun, just because it's a fun crowd out there, anyways. And I love all these. I drive cross country a lot to go to the big swap meets and things, and it's just a different vibe for us, especially getting out of Southern California. And I don't know, like I went to the Fandango a couple of years ago, and in the campground outside the grounds is all these kids in their 70s vans, and everybody just like, just hanging out, drinking beer. It's like, this was like Dazed and Confused at the Moon Tower.
Yeah.
And it was literally like that. I can't stop thinking about that. And people don't do that out here as well as, especially Texans and Midwesterners. You can just hang out and have fun. And I'm personally looking forward to that sort of, hopefully, overall mentality.
Yeah.
So,
well, Texas, I've never had a bad time in Texas other than when I've gotten pulled over because,
exactly.
but yeah, man. So is it going to, having some other people partnered up, is it going to give you a little more breathing room to actually kind of enjoy the show a little more? Or you think it's going to be just hectic?
We hope so. And that's the idea. That was the big draw for us. So, Oliver and Audra, we are basically renting the place. Well, there's a few partners that own the place, but the contract, just for simplicity, is between us and them this first time around. So they're staffing it. Hopefully everything will be on site except for us and like our booth stuff. And it's really appealing to think of. And again, we haven't used the space before. I've been out there once and looked at it and have a general idea. they've got a few events under their belts now, and so kind of leaning on them a lot for kind of ideas on how to best use it. But the idea for us is to be able to go out there and not have to worry about so much, and to be able to have more fun like we used to. It's I don't know. We really hope that happens, and we hope everybody else has fun too.
Yeah, man. I get it, man, because that's the worst part of being the event organizer. It's like, because you don't have a second to breathe or have a good time, and even if you do have a second to breathe, like you're just worried about something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite thing is to go to other people's events.
Yeah, man.
I have the best time because I don't have to do anything except for show up and have fun and leave or think about what I want to eat, or that's my favorite thing now is when I don't even going on rides. I'll just follow somebody. I don't want to think about where I'm going. Let's just I don't know.
I'm even at the point where
therapy I need.
Yeah, I'm even at the point where my favorite thing is going to an event and not setting up and like not, you know what I mean? You know, like,
dude,
it's cool to set up and have like your little place carved out and you have like a, whatever, but it's also cool just to be able to come and go as you please, you know?
Yes, I prefer it as a spectator. Having to go to and set up as a vendor at events for so many years. I mean, I know you got to do it, and like I said, we've all been doing it, paying dues all these years. But I love being able to ride my bike to the thing and park and bullshit and enjoy, and then all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, you want to go for a little ride? Yeah, fuck it, let's go. But cool, man. So.
Exactly.
What else? Anything else coming up in the future that we haven't talked about that or anything going on that?
That's the big thing on our plate. We're also scrambling. Texas has been in the forefront of our mind and trying to figure this out. But we are also trying to get 2023 California together right now, because we normally announce all that stuff in September. So we're trying to finalize, just all the usual stuff, builders, sponsors, artwork, just all that kind of stuff so that we can get everything rolling and people can plan. We're still looking at the same weekend. I think it's June 24th, 25th for next year in California. We've been looking at trying to move it because we keep getting, everybody only ever remembers the years that it's really hot at Born Free, and that's what everybody usually complains about. But it's still, I don't know, 85 degrees, and it's not like it's 90% humidity or anything, but Californians love to complain. So we've looked at maybe trying to move the date. We can't next year. Father's Day is the weekend before, whatever. And I don't know. So we're still fourth weekend in June. And, I don't know. It's, Texas in 23 is really what we're looking at. We're going to be doing some stuff. I think maybe it's a Harley. Is it the 120th or 125th next year?
Yeah.
We had a little thing at the 115th with some bikes around the museum, but so we're in talks with that. And then I don't know. I think if Texas works, there's so much room to grow. A lot of people are.
It's literally 10 times the size of.
So I really hope that it is something that takes off, just because we're so limited and we're so squished in California. That's honestly one of our biggest challenges is just the Rubik's Cube of trying to do that, and everything changes every year enough to where it's like. And it's not anything that anybody notices, but I do the whole show layout. So it's one of my biggest stresses. Yeah. But Texas could be so much fun. I mean, we could have like like an Ole, Pennsylvania AMCA size swap meet. The races. It would be cool to do like a scramble through the woods there. I don't know. It's everything that we have not been able to do, but have dreamed about being able to do. So. I don't know.
Yeah, man. It sounds like there's room for a ton of shit. Like, and then every year, like if that works out good, like every year you can just kind of chip away and add the new shit and keep it more exciting and fresh.
Exactly.
Well,
So yeah, I don't know. That's most of it. I've been working on my almost 100-year-old house here in Long Beach, and trying to keep some of these old wrecks running. And I don't know. The year, I can't believe it's already the middle of September, and
I know it's crazy.
Everything's whizzing by.
I know. So are you still doing anything with like? Are you still doing any car stuff or just mostly bike stuff? Or?
Not really. Space became the big limiter on
dude,
that.
100%, dude. 100%.
Yeah, which was kind of the relieving thing about bikes. You know, you can have 10 junk bikes in the spot of one junk car. I had when I was still at the magazines, because I was working on stuff for Carcraft and Hot Rod. The last 5 years I was there, I was running the shop, working on a lot of the roadkill cars. If people are watching the roadkill YouTube show, and the Lucky Mobile Tech guy has my old job, which if I stayed would have turned into that video position there. But I built a single turbo Fox body Mustang when I was a Carcraft, and that was a ton of fun. And had big block 67 Corvette 4-speed after that. But I don't know. I would like to do some car stuff eventually, but just time, and I don't know. The one thing that I've grown to hate in life is projects.
Yeah. And
especially car projects.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like the worst thing in the world to me, because that was my life for so long. So I would love to get something that doesn't need a lot. I'd love to build another hot rod at some point, a pre-war Ford hot rod. But it's nothing that I need right now. And I have my hands full with all the bikes that I've got. And I don't know. We'll see if something comes along and I've got a place to put it, then great. But I haven't had a place to put anything car wise. So
maybe when you're back out in Salt Lake.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of one of the thoughts. There's an old guy there that I used to do a lot of flathead Ford stuff that would love to buy one of his cars that he's had forever. We kind of talked about a little bit. And if that happens, then great. But normally not really out pursuing anything.
Yeah. Now, I know bike stuff is crazy and all over the place, but like with like hot rod and like, old car stuff, is it crazy right now in California, or are the prices like coming down? It's
funny because a few years ago that stuff was really kind of nosing over. And like a lot of things with the end of the world that are collectible, like vintage guitars or records or even cars, where you were able to scoop up really, really nice stuff at like Barrett Jackson and Meekum and stuff. The last, 6-7 years, prices were dropping, and now they seem really strong. So I don't know. I don't quite understand how the influx of money is with all of that, with the way the world looks, but I don't know.
And everything's so weird right now. A dude came into the shop and he's looking to sell this panhead, and it's this beautiful custom chopper panhead that's been a chopper since like the 60s out here, local bike. And he's like, "What's it worth?" And I was like, dude, I don't know, because I see bikes like this going for like $8 or $9 grand, and I see bikes that are like shit bags like going for like 14 grand and or 17 grand. I'm like, it's all over the place now. It's like, what do you want for it? And that's really the value of it, dude. You know what I mean?
That's really it. I mean, that's the best way to put it, because everything is so swirly and it's almost arbitrary on a lot of things.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's all over the board right now. So that's why I was just checking in. I just curiosity what it's like over there right now. But yeah, man, dude, I appreciate you taking the time, man. But give a couple of plugs, like where people can find out more information about the shows and and all that stuff.
Yeah, we are of course on. We have a Facebook page, as far as I know. I still don't know how to use Facebook, but it's there. for those, the Facebookers. We primarily drive everything off the Instagram. We've been working on the last few weeks trying to update our website and kind of retooling a lot of that.
Yeah.
So it is on there. A lot of the new information for California will be coming soon on there, but we do have a thing where if you go to bornfreeshow.com, you can click on the first thing that's Texas. That basically takes you to the Yellow Rose Canyon website, which is the venue, and you can get grass passes there, which includes your nights of Saturday night camping, and entry with your bike into the show and all that stuff. And then you can also do general admission ahead of time, just because Oliver and Audra are a lot more organized than we are. You can get general admission. You can buy even just general admission camping if you're going to go in your vehicle or just want to go tent camp and you're not, bringing your camping gear on your bike. It is a lot to read through on there. We're trying to streamline it, like literally every day we're tweaking it. So we do apologize, but so you're kind of learning with us. But yeah, bornfreeshow.com or Born Free Show Instagram are the best places. We're going to be doing a bunch more video stuff. We've been working with Mark Kirkland, who's done some neat stuff lately with he's done a bunch of stuff for Dice, and he did one on Gary Royal up in Oakland, who was one of our builders this year. He's going to be doing a lot more stuff with us over this coming year, because a lot of people miss the builder videos and that. And so yeah, that's kind of where to get the stuff. Like I say, you're kind of along for the ride with us on this Texas thing as we're sorting it out, but we appreciate everybody's patience. And if you got questions, we're trying to get all that stuff handled. And, but yeah, Texas is October 22nd, 23rd, about 2 hours east of Dallas. So pretty East Texas, not far from Louisiana, and just outside of Tyler and Nacogdoches, for reference there. But, yeah, it's an awesome property. Outside the little town Henderson, there's a few hotels in that town. But again, there's like 150 RV spots, and you can rent RVs or even trailers on RV Share or Outdoorsy, and they will drop the travel trailer off to the RV site and hook it up and all that kind of stuff. It's almost like an Airbnb for that stuff. So,
that's right.
Yeah, Oliver and Audra have told us that's been pretty popular, and so yeah. Hopefully all that helps, but yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, let's we're almost at 2 hours, bro.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know my wife's like, we gotta go. We gotta go to a friend's birthday dinner, but no, that was a quick 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. But well, hold on, man. I'm gonna sign off here, but I'm not gonna hang up. So just hold on 1 second. But again, thanks a lot for coming on today, man. Hold on.